Hey, Steve, welcome to Chalk Talk.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, Hugh.
Oh, my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. And you've got a new book out. Tell us a little
Y-
bit about that.
Yeah, so it's called the 7 Day Manifestation Experiment. It's based on a video I published back in YouTube in 2013, believe it or not. That's got about 460,000 views. And it's one of these things where back then I was building my life coaching business and I had this client from the UK. And he came to me kind of like flustered and frustrated and being like, nothing's working financially, business wise, even family wise. And so I said to him, okay, man, why don't we do this? Why don't we just have it? Why don't we just treat this as an experiment? I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you some steps. And all I want you to do is try it and just see what happens. And the whole idea behind the experiment was to get him to think that he was the creator of his life. It wasn't the government or some other corporation or something outside of him. It was him. And so what he did is he decided, okay, there was three things that he wanted to create over the next 7 days. One was he wanted someone to buy him a beer. Okay. Number two, he wanted someone to cook him dinner. Okay. He wasn't attached to who these people were, but so beer, dinner, and he wanted to win the card game that he played every Thursday. So 4 days later, he sent me an email and said, number one, the chair of a committee he was on asked him if he wanted a pint at the pub. Number two, the same night when he got home from the pub, his partner had prepared a delicious dinner. And number three, he won the card game on Thursday. In fact, he consistently got good cards all night.
Wow.
So the whole point was to get him to realize that he was the creator. And so I started sharing that more and more on social media. And then I decided finally this year to finally write the book.
Well, that's great. And intention is really a vital part of the mindset that business people and salespeople or any individual has to have to succeed in business and life. And intention is great. You got to manifest that intention, though. There's something that has to happen. So, first of all, what is intention exactly?
So the way that I think about it, there's kind of like two types of intention. There's surface intentions and then there's deep level intentions, okay? And the deep level intentions are the ones that get you the results that you want. Surface intentions are sort of like having a vision board or having like notes beside your bed or like affirmations that you say or books that you read or videos that you watch or anything that's sort of at the conscious level. Deep level intentions are in basically instructions that you give the body at the subconscious level. And the way to think of this is that you have 50 trillion cells in your body, and all of these cells are like citizens of the body. All of them have it's an excretion system. All of them have a respiratory system. They're all like little citizens of the body. And what you're doing with an intention at the subconscious level is you're giving them instructions. So I'll give you a really practical example. So if you go tonight, the bed tonight, and then tomorrow morning you're like, I'm going to go to the gym because that's what I want to do, or I want to go for a run or something sort of physical activity, and you wake up without intention, and you don't normally work out, it's going to be a slog. In other words, your subconscious isn't aligned. There's counter intentions there, and you're not aligned with the activity. But if you go to bed at night or wake up in the morning and you set an intention with the instructions that I talk about in the 7 day experiment, then what happens is now you're giving the instructions to those 50 trillion cells in the subconscious mind. And now it's not, there's no resistance to go to the gym. There's no resistance to like go and do the workout. There's no resistance to like stay and finish the workout and then actually like, drink water during the workout. It's all by intention, and it happens a lot more naturally and with a lot less physical effort because you started with the subconscious mind. So intention is really about deep level intentions are about using the subconscious to give instructions to the 50 trillion cells in your body, regardless if that's going to the gym, going for a run, finding someone in your life, partner with other business partners, getting sales, closing sales. I actually give quite a few sales examples in the book, but that's what an intention is.
How big a part does willingness play in that whole process?
Okay, great question. So obviously you have to be willing to do the exercise to set the intention. If you're not willing to do it, then nothing's going to happen. But what's probably even if you're not willing to change at all, because what we're talking about here at the fundamental level is making a change, right? Especially if you're a salesperson and you're like, okay, I want to bring my sales from 20,000 a month to 40,000 a month. If you do that, then you're looking to make a change. And if you're going to make a change at the subconscious level by setting an intention, you're going to be giving instructions to those 50 trillion cells. And then what's going to happen is not only are you going to be sending out new information about how you respond to what happens during your day, but you're going to receive new information and you might get new ideas or new insights that help you handle a sales call a different way, present the offer differently, put in a guarantee. It could be a number of things. And I just started a new business over the summer where we did all of that, and it came from setting that intention.
I think that sometimes intentions don't get taken care of because we assume that it's going to take a long time to manifest the intention. So how do you manifest something quickly?
Okay, so this is something that, again, is in my book, but the key is you got to set intentions in the beginning that are believable to you. So you don't want to set an intention that you're going to, like, someone's going to buy you a Ferrari or McLaren, or someone's going to hand you $1 million and put them into your bank account. Pick something believable to you. So, for the example I always give is that if your dream is like, to earn $1 million, let's just pick something practical over the next 12 months. And on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being that's totally believable to you, and 1, there's no way in hell, and you're a 1 out of 10, that would not be an intention you want to set in the beginning because you got to build the muscle. So what you would do instead is you would set an intention that's an 8 out of 10. That's the sweet spot. And an example that could be something simple as you're just trying to get a parking spot, or you're just getting someone to buy you a coffee. Someone's going to buy me a coffee today. That's 8 out of 10 believable to me. Or, I'm going to earn about an extra $5,000 this week. And you say, is that believable to you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being you totally believe that that could happen, and 1, there's no way in hell. If you're a 4 out of 10, it's too much of a stretch for your intention muscle. It's not within your realm of your belief system. It doesn't fit your model of physical reality. So pick something that's believable to you. If it's $2,000 and you say, hey, yeah, you know what? $2,000 in the next 7 days is believable to me. That's like an 8 out of 10. Then start with that. Because what happens is if something shows up and it drops in your lap, now you start to become a self-fulfilling prophecy where you start to set your intentions and then realize them during the waking day. And as you start to realize that you're the creator of this process, that you actually influence and instigate the process of creation, then you start to realize, okay, well, now I could set something a little bit bigger. And that's how I did it as well. And then you start picking something a little bit bigger, something a little bit bigger, each time staying in that kind of sweet spot, 8 out of 10, sabotage your results.
Now, don't kill my fantasy here, Steve. How about I will win $2 billion in the lottery tonight?
Right.
So how do you allow things to just come to you? It sounds like this process isn't an efforting and going out and trying to make it happen. It's allowing it to happen.
Right. So when I say allowing it, you can start by asking yourself, will this benefit everyone involved? And so for the salesperson, that means when you actually sell your product or service, if you know deep down that that product or service is just low quality and terrible for the client, the consumer, or the customer, then deep down inside, what you're basically saying is that this doesn't benefit everyone involved. And so if that means you have to change jobs or make a better product so that it is serving the customer, so that everyone benefits, then that's what's required. So some cases, In that case, you'd be like, will this benefit everyone involved? You're like, well, it doesn't benefit the consumer. In other cases, it might be like, no, the product's amazing, the service is amazing. But when I sell or offer make my offer and someone buys it, they get the benefit, but I'm getting a terrible commission. So now you're not benefiting from the process. So that may mean you have to have a chat with the company about getting a bigger commission, or find another company that will pay you a higher commission. The key is that you want to get an absolute yes to this question. Will this benefit everyone involved? So if you're a salesperson, it's got to benefit you as much as it benefits the customer and the company. So as long as you get an absolute yes to that, what will happen is you're aligning with the intention that serves all people equally. Because it's not like you're taking from someone else to give to you. Everyone benefits. And that is, in my mind, where you're using pure intent to create a transaction where everyone benefits. That to me is a key to how things can easily start to come to you instead of trying to force them to make them happen.
So tonight I set an intention that somebody's going to buy me a cup of coffee. And my buddy Steve doesn't show up to buy me a cup of coffee, and nobody shows up to buy me a cup of coffee. And the manifestation just didn't work. What now?
Okay. So the key, one thing is that whatever shows up, shows up. And I say that in the video, that one video I mentioned at the beginning, the 7-day video. It's like, don't be attached to where it come from. Just let the higher mind deliver it for you. And so the key is, and I'll give you an example. So when I used to do my previous business, when I used to get in a place where I was setting these intentions, and then like, what would you during the day? Because it's like, oh, you set an intention, you do it like as soon as you wake in the morning, you're in this place, you can access the subconscious mind. And then, well, it's like, now what? Well, during the day, what I would do is I'd wake up in the morning, and then I would make a list of all the potential clients that I had talked to in the last 6 months, month, whatever it was. And if I have a list of 10, or if it's 100, whatever it was, I would make a list. And then I would go through the list and I'd be like, who are the most highly likely to close? And then I would mark them down. And then what I would do is I would be like, okay, so out of this list of people, I have about 5 really good prospects. Each client's worth about $4,000. That's about $20,000. And I'm like, okay, these are the people that are likely to close in the next month. So I got a $20,000 month in my mind, right? But here's the key. As soon as I would leave that list, and then I would like go to the kitchen and have some breakfast, I would start thinking about those people not buying my service. So I'm focused on what the absence of what I want, which is $20,000 in sales, versus the presence of what I want, which is $20,000. So this is something that what I learned over time is that if you can just stay more general and start focused so much on like the specifics of who's going to show up or who's going to buy the coffee, but just stay in the state of being that is more like the 20,000 is on its way to me. It may become from one of these people, but it doesn't matter who. Then what happens is you get more into the presence of you want versus the absence of what you want. And so you can make a list like I used to of these potential sales, but what you want to do is focus on the abundance of it. And so what I started doing is, it was funny. I remember going to the kitchen. I was like, I started to feel anxiety. And I was like, why do I feel anxiety? It's like, oh, I'm focused on if those 4 or 5 deals don't close, I'm going to make no money this month, right? So what I did was I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I got to do something with this energy because I don't feel like, so I go to the gym and I'm staying more general and I'm enjoying the music at the gym and I'm having a great workout. And then during my workout, 45 minutes in, I'm in a pretty good place, right? I'm not focused on where the sales are coming from. I'm just focused on my workout. And I get this text message from a guy that I spoke with saying he's in, exclamation mark. I want to start next week. And I was like, I wasn't even focused on what it is that I wanted. So there's a part of us that if you can surrender to this higher mind, then what it does is it makes it easier for things to show up for you.
Yeah, unless it happens to be coming by the U.S. Postal Service, and then it might be a few days late. Well, Steve, man, it's been great having you back with me on Chalk Talk. And before I let you go, I do have another question for you. You know this, you've answered it on previous shows. It's one that we ask all of our guests on every show. And the question is based on one of my favorite books, The One Thing by Gary Keller of Keller Williams Real Estate. If you could give our listeners just one piece of advice that you consider to be the most important in gaining success in their businesses, their sales, their relationships, their lives, what's the one thing, Steve?
Awesome. So Dannion Brinkley, this guy died 3 times. He was hit by lightning. He's still alive today. Okay, so in all of these 3 times, he has this quote that I really like. He says, open quote, when you come to this planet, it's like entering the Olympics. It's like getting on the Olympic team. You have made it to the opportunity to this dimension that we call the human experience, end quote. What I like about that is he's saying that life on this planet can be tough. And only the best show up because they are ready for a challenge. That's you. That's the person listening. You chose to be here. You are the best, so make the best out of the experience. In addition to that, when you leave this planet, again, this is coming from Dannion because he has a lot of experience in death and near-death experiences. Regardless of your faith or religion, Dannion says you're going to experience being in the shoes of every person that you ever interact with in your entire life when you move on and transition to the next plane. Then you're going to make a judgment about how you did. Just know that you did your best. And lastly, from a much larger perspective, when you first wake in the morning after having a dream, upon waking, you realize it was all just a dream. And from this larger perspective, what I also want you to realize that when you transition out of this physical body into the next life, when this life ends, you will look back on your life from this higher perspective and realize that this physical reality and experience was also a dream. So relax, have fun, go for it. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Try the 7-day manifestation experiment. And if it doesn't work, you can always have your old life back.
That's great, Steve. Well, Steve, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come share all this great stuff with me and with our audience. Come back and talk with me again soon.
Awesome, man. Thanks, you.